Hello, how's it going? The lighting isn't. Hold on, because people there's nothing wrong. I just like to chill. Because if I do this, man, people fuck around. Those lights you see in the back, my kids made those for me. So they're a little angry at me. Sometimes I don't visit them as much as I should, but you know, did you see how I fixed my hair as I talked about my children? Right. That's called nerves. And sometimes when I'm too aware, I notice many things. And oftentimes who I am lives in a certain amount of awareness to where I only observe other things and other people and am comfortable with what I am doing. So, what is this video about? I was chatting amongst myself with a fellow brethren, and I began to understand that I made the statement that there is no such thing as a universal truth because I only know consciousness and awareness from my perspective. I told that friend that one time my father kissed me before church on the forehead, and I said to myself, what the hell? Okay. I didn't say that as the child, but I'm just. So then I was like, okay. Then when we went to church, it was professed. I kissed my son on the forehead. So, also, I did all this hand movement, nerves. So, what I'm saying is now, though, as an adult, I look back at that and it's like, nigga, the fuck? My father, I had the opportunity to be kissed on my head. But as that child, I thought that I was aware to something else. Just being used as a sermon message, not realizing now that I have a son who asked to come see me, but then I was like, oh, I gotta work nights and I gotta do this and that, and didn't see him. Now it's like, oh yeah, nigga. Now you kissed your son on the forehead, now you making a video about it. See, and so the point of this video is that there will never be a universal truth in terms of consciousness and awareness. Because also, I told that friend, I don't care what word I use to communicate with anyone else. All I can ever do is use a word called sympathy and empathy. Sympathy signifies that from my emotional standpoint and understanding and knowledge, I am trying to understand that person based on what it would do to me. Why am I saying this right now? What does any of this mean? The point is, the reason there can never be a universal truth is because I'm going to say a word right now. Cat or dog? Dog, cat. Alligator, crocodile, cheetah. Any of those words are associated in who I am's mind. Now I'm going to speak on the perspective of another being listening to me. Now I just said dog or cat. And I may think of a dog or a cat. And it's going to be totally different than the dog or cat the opposite party just thought of, or any scenario. Perhaps they're afraid of dogs. Perhaps there's any scenario. The only thing that was constant was the word dog. And so I can never trust with concrete truth what another person tells me what they're feeling at the moment. I can only take it with a grain of salt. Because if I turn my back to that person, I could get stabbed and turned into a grave marker. I am transparent. I was speaking to one of the wise men, and I used the analogy to one of the wise men. When I was hurt financially, another one of the wise men offered me to come stay with them instantly. And because of what I experienced, I told the wise man that I was currently speaking to, I don't know this wise man. They could I don't know what's in their basement. I could end up in their basement in chains. In a situation like Saw, I told that wise man to watch Saw and then understand the nature of humans. All these wise men amongst them know who I'm talking about and know the other who I'm talking about. Sorry, Dan. I don't have a constant communication chain with thou. But the point is, the wise man told me, no, that's a great other wise man. He has great sayings and teachings. I asked the wise man, I gave you an opportunity to stab the other wise man in the ribs. Why didn't you do it? And the wise man gave me a very wise answer. Because it basically, in layman's terms, isn't the right thing to do. That person has great sayings, and I've watched their videos. And so I said to the wise man who I was currently talking to, wow. Nobody else was watching. Who I am decided to defend the other wise man and say, no, that's a good person. This may be confusing to the person who is not aware of what I'm talking about. But what I'm essentially saying is, nobody knows who I am, what I am saying, or who I am, or how I feel. The only thing another person can do is sympathize or empathize with who I am. It is, I understand from my safety standpoint, survival standpoint, why I would tell a person, yeah, follow all of the law and do what's right all the time. But from a natural balance standpoint, that ain't true. The all of the law is only efficient when it's time for the all law to be efficient. Yahweh says sometimes don't trust your neighbor, destroy your enemy, and harm others. Why would Yahweh say that? I don't have to pretend like even though the Bible is detrimental, I don't understand all things. Here's the problem with humanity, and what I also told the wise man. I don't debate. I talk. Debate leads to dismantle. Talk leads to building. Debate leads to breaking down. Talk leads to building up. So, I don't make these videos to be wise. Somewhere out there are who I ams. And those who I ams are in the storm, in the house I described. And they're going to need some encouragement. And who I am, death before dishonor. Take that how a person will. Because who I am has consistently said, do not cause harm also. But who I am also said, like a savage, I will ravage to preserve. So, mankind is mankind. But who I am is who I am. And so, although I would like to find conformity, perhaps I never do. But also, perhaps I have been within conformity and never really understood. I began to tell the wise man that it's good to try to elevate one's consciousness. But I reminded the wise man that there's no common ground on a word called consciousness, because even consciousness is a word from my perspective. And so words, vibrations, sounds can never fully describe the whole, because a part of the whole cannot describe the whole. If I have one here and then I take one half of that one half can never describe the one, because the other one half may be totally different than the half I broke off. I could have a cherry and an apple pie, and I could completely cut them in half. And then those who receive the apple pie could say the apple pie was the part of the pie and half of it's missing, and it's the total apple pie, and the only reason there's red specks around the apple pie is because it's the blood when the great God apple pie was split apart. But then I wouldn't have any idea what I'm talking about. But if I were to say a part of me is missing and it feels like I need my whole, then that's simply a metaphor, right? It's very dangerous what words are capable of. And yet, words are but a fraction of who I am. So, how can words entangle who I am when who I am is in total control? But how can who am I be in total control when I have billions of things to operate at the same time? I am the consciousness. The total is busy. I am representing the total. There only can ever be one. But that one, just like the planet Earth, has billions and trillions. I am not telling one to go past duality into infinity. I am telling one to understand that no matter what one wants to be, there is one that controls all things, and its representative, the consciousness, are just words. It can never describe who or what I am, just like these words I'm using now. And so, I am based on my current emotions, like fluid water. I am doing what I will when I will. But I must say also, one man is but a part of humanity. Do not be consumed by the rest because you cause them anger. Because who I am causes them anger. So, I have much to do today, like sleep. And so I would that everyone who sees me possible understand that who I am is who I am. Who I am can better myself. The rich suffer just as much as the poor in death, and yet they don't. Anybody that tells people money doesn't solve problems and is the root of all evil is a fool. Because the root of all evil is whatever the creator of whatever is anyone doing. The user is the root of all evil. Money is an imaginary tree paper just like anything else. Do not tell mounds of mankind money is the root of all evil and beat it into them, and then not understand why they want to hippity hop in the future and not respect money. Do not say unto myself, why won't these African Americans act right while continually not being treated right? You want the cheetah continually to go up to the watering hole and drink and then get his face and drowned. But then when a big lion or leopard goes in and jumps after that alligator or that crocodile, then what? The circle of life. I should not treat Africa, America, and other minorities like shit and then be afraid of them having power. But if I treated them great, I would love for them to have power because then I will receive power by proxy. As angry as I am at Dean the Great and Adrian Broner, sometimes I wish I was Dean the Great and Adrian Broner. We can all tell the truth sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's best for who I am to remember I'd rather be who I am.